Better. Now he's not. No, okay.
Right, I've done it.
Things.
Alex had sorted it so that it played the intro, but we don't want the intro yet, do we? We've got to chat shit.
No, we've had the preamble.
We've got to do the shit. I know we chat shit after, but we've got to do the actual proper shit. As everybody knows, if you're listening to this on Apple or something, just skip 10 minutes if you want football chat.
Yeah. You can listen to it on Spotify, remember.
We're rudderless.
We're rudderless, yes.
There's currently a coup d'etat taking place in DN35 Towers. Alex has tried to say he's got control of the TV stations and airport, but Bruce is trying to get everybody out on the streets.
I've got the calendars ready.
Oh, that's good. That's all we're going to do. We're not going to talk about football. We're going to get straight onto calendars. Let's just, let's not keep the public waiting. Just do that. I think.
Let's be honest.
Nobody wants to talk about.
If people listen to the people who, for some reason, listen to us ramble on, they don't want
crazy. If people listen, who the fucker listens?
Listens to this, and they don't want to know our views on how Evan Curry played yesterday, but they do want to see Bruce get his calendars out.
Well,
that's a euphemism. That
I do want to know, Sam. You posted on Twitter today that Trent Alexander-Arnold's performance for Liverpool was the worst you've seen from a professional footballer. Do you not watch our games on a regular basis?
I think
he wants a Fete to take over when he goes to Real Madrid, don't you?
I think
he's been tweeting Ross County.
It's a relative thing, isn't it? So Trent. I mean, the thing is, we sign crap
You're not
players.
related to Trent.
Trent is purportedly one of the best players in the world. I think it was so far below the level that you'd expect with him. I mean, let's think of a crap player we've had over the years. Matt Green. How
long do we let him go on about Liverpool?
This is a Scrooge Town podcast. Who asked the question?
I asked the question, but I want to know which Town players are we comparing to Trent Alexander-Arnold?
You've been on 2 minutes 15 seconds, Bruce, of your reign, and it's now already
a Liverpool podcast.
Right. Okay. Got it. I've got it. Yeah. No, I know where you're coming from. I know what I've got to do.
You didn't last long in the new era.
Drunk with power.
Yeah.
That's it.
He's sweating backstage now. He's in the green room. He's at the bottle.
I know you can still see me. Oh, there's no mercy here, is there? Fenwick rules with an iron fist.
Bruce, are you still in charge of HR?
Yes.
My wife wants to know what my paternity rights are.
You don't have any. We sack you.
Right. Okay. So 15th of February, I'm getting sacked.
You missed 2 consecutive Sundays and you're gone. People might wonder where Hannah is.
Amazing. Has anybody left then?
That's a bit of a problem. So I'm going to have to miss quite a few in the next couple of weeks.
Sorry, you're out.
Under the new regime, this 2025 is a new era. It's like Elon Musk. Basically, Musk is taking over this podcast. He's calling everybody. It'll just be him talking about kind of, conspiracy theories of DN35 over the next few months. Can't wait.
I must say, even by our standards of chatting rubbish at the start of the podcast, this is a new level, I'd say. I don't know.
Shall I go early with the credits, Sam?
Well, we're all trying to find our way into it with Bruce. We're trying. It's a bit of trepidation, isn't it? How we're going to get on? Because last time this happened,
let me play the new credits.
In the pub.
Let me play the new credits, and then we'll talk about it.
New credits?
What do you mean new credits?
Once in every lifetime comes a love like this. Oh, I need you, you need me. Oh, my darling, can't you see? Young ones, darling, we're the young ones. The young ones shouldn't be afraid to live, love. There's a song to be sung, 'cause we may not be the young ones very long.
Absolute class.
I'm on
Brilliant.
board. I'm on board.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
the trepidation, though, when I realised you got a photo of all of us with a drink in the kind of introducing album, I was sitting there thinking, which one does he use? This could be awful. But no,
hang on. That was a long time ago, Bruce. How long have you spent going through my Facebook? That was about 8 years ago.
It took me about 30 seconds, mate, because it was one of your profile pictures.
Oh.
Sam's. I thought Sam's whole life would be on there, but there's about 15 photos. And there's about 2 where he's not in a suit.
No, I'm not a big poster on any other platforms other than Twitter, or sorry, X, formerly known as Twitter, I should say.
Anyway, it was funny enough because you got, like you say, you've got a beer in your hand. So.
Oh, hang on, Andrew Niles is throwing some shade. Young ones.
Hey, Nilesy.
No need for that,
Let's
mate.
relax.
Come on.
How old are
Let's
you, young?
relax. I'm 40. I'm 41. But thank
When
you.
are you changing your name?
Forever young, mate. I'll always be forever young.
Youngie.
It's the only reason why the missus married me, so she gets that name. That's it.
How old's Fenners?
I'm 50 in April, Anna.
Yeah, what are we going to do?
Aren't you like half his age?
I'm 25. Yeah.
That's why Bruce is very paternal towards Sam, and he always tries to look out for him and things like that.
Look after him.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's the point. That we have to arrange something for Bruce's big 50th, don't we?
What's the closest game to your birthday, Bruce?
There was talk of going to Harrogate.
Turkey sword.
I've got to wait to see. I've got to wait to see if Maisie's got any games towards the end of the season that are important, and then I'll release the details.
Release the details. What, like it's some sort of university union party?
Oh, we'll all look forward to that, Bruce.
I've already save the date cards to all my mates.
Bruce has already
that's nice.
threatened to release the beast.
That's nice, Bruce. I didn't get one.
I sent yours to Parliament. Can you go pick it up?
I've still got some friends who work there, so stop it.
Sorry. Right, should we play the proper credits?
Yeah, might as well. That was good. It's not going to be.
Let me know if when we want an advert break, because Alex says we have to put an advert break in, doesn't he?
Well, he just does that afterwards, doesn't he?
I think I've deleted the intro video.
Right. Okay.
Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
I don't think I've ever wanted to be in a stand more than my life. They're in there, they're going crazy. Hey, they got plenty here, there'll be fish flying about there. There's no tomorrow.
What a magnificent piece of football! A really, really good goal. You can't make it better than that.
Right. Evening, everybody. As you can see, Alex is not here today. He has let us take over things. It's a new start for 2025, and what a Merry Christmas it was to be a Town fan. However, it has now turned out to be a crappy New Year. I am joined this evening by Mike, Sam, and Fenners, who is in control of the buttons, and we're going to try and bring a little bit of New Year's joy to what has been a fairly shite start to 2025. Mike, how you doing?
I'm living the dream, mate. I'm all for this takeover, but I'm easily flippable. If it goes wrong, I'll go back onto Alex's side.
Fenners, are you comfortable on being producer for this evening?
I'm good, mate. Yes, yeah, all good.
That's it. It's just blown everybody's ears out now that's listening to this.
Yeah. So if random noises happen during this, like, we're just sorry. I'm Youngie, by the way. And if you are listening and you don't realise that, I do apologise. But yes, I'm Youngie. I'm presenting. So we've had 2 games in 2025 so far. Both of them have ended in defeats. Both of them have meant 3 goals conceded. So we'll start with the nearest one with Bradford. One person was there yesterday, and that person was Sam. Sam, are you going to give up now, go into that shitty place in West Yorkshire?
Well, firstly, I think I had a pretty shoddy attendance from all of the DN35 brigade yesterday. I'm not sure anybody else was there, so I'll pat myself on the back for that one. I looked at, because Bradford. I mean, I don't know why I bothered. Why you bother going to Bradford, because we've not won there since about the mid-90s, is it? Or did we win there the season we got relegated from the second tier, like 1-4-3 or something?
1997.
Yeah, both of us got relegated, I think, after it. So, and I mean, I think that was my 5th trip yesterday, and I've seen 4 defeats. And last year, the only draw we've had there last year felt like a defeat, didn't it? No, I was more pissed off on New Year's Day with the defeat, because yesterday you got your head around the defeat, hadn't you? Well before. I mean, I know the penalty's dodgy. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I think we'd have lost regardless yesterday. I was actually quite impressed with Bradford. Really, I thought they were as good as anything I've seen. They really stifled our midfield. We couldn't get anything going. So there was a pill until stoppage time before we got any sustained pressure on their box. I don't know why we like it's a day out. It's always moved to an early kickoff now. Again, a massive away following, and it's bizarre, isn't it? That all of a sudden we've won 3 of our last 4 home games, and now we've lost 3 away games on the spin. So that kind of extreme disparity in our home away form. It was at the start of the season like this. It flipped. Now it's flipped back again, which probably shows how phasey as a team we are. I feel I'm waffling a little bit here, so I'll let someone else talk about it in probably a more structured way.
I think, don't you think the 2 results put pressure on the home form? You know, now we've suddenly stopped picking up points away from home. It makes 2 very tricky home games coming up, look even harder.
But we were saying that about I mean, we're all saying that, weren't we? Well, I'm sure I've had conversations on here that we need to start winning at home because we're not going to keep on winning away. We're going to start getting beat away. So that was inevitable. But you're right. I mean, you'll probably say you'll do well to get anything out of Notts County and Chesterfield, because broadly speaking, this season, and again yesterday backed it up. It's not actually quite. Before yesterday, we'd beaten 3 of the sides who were in the top 6 in the division which surprised me. Broadly speaking, when we played a decent side this season, we've been beaten, and as again yesterday, well beaten.
I do see what you mean about being more annoyed at the Accrington game than the than the Bradford game. The Accrington one, we thought we probably should have won that. I thought we played some good stuff for the better team, and we just let that go. Yesterday, we just totally played off the park in all areas of the pitch, whether that's in the final thirds or in the middle of the park. We were nowhere. I don't know if it's too easy to lie behind the excuse of being tired, but we looked it. So I don't know how true that is, but other teams have to play the same amount of games as we do, so that's not too much of an excuse. And I thought, despite some improvements over the recent couple of weeks, making Danny Rose look less isolated, I thought he just cast a forlorn shadow yesterday. Just no support anywhere all over the pitch. Ball's going into him. There's nobody around him to hold up, and we just didn't get going. I thought the first 10 minutes or so we were all right. I thought we settled into the game quite well, but I think Bradford worked us out quite easily, and then just started to impress themselves on the game. And I think their sort of midfield 4, whatever they had, they sort of just dominated all over the pitch, and that was the story of the game. You can look at the goals, and the first goal is ridiculous. I know McEachran, we've not put enough pressure on the ball for the easy cross into the box, and I know McEachran's just been caught ball watching. But for me, Tyrell Warren is so far central, he's nearly playing left back. He's left his position miles away, and I think you heard Artell say this on his post-match. He didn't name him, but he said somebody else should have been there. And that's becoming a theme with Warren defensively. Remember, we had loads of problems with corners at the start of the season. I went back and watched them, and it was always Warren that was missing the ball at the front post. So they moved him out of there. And then this is a couple of times he's done this. He's left his man. He's got dragged inside. And you're ending up with George McEachran letting a runner go off his shoulder. That's not his position to defend. He should have done better, but he didn't. So that's becoming a bit of an issue, his defensive positioning, to say the least. Penalty, I don't think it was, but it's not an outrageous one. I think he bought it, but as Artell said, Danny Rose would do the same thing and we'd all be happy, wouldn't we? And I thought it was a cracking header from McJanet, but I think that put a little bit of false hope into us. I don't think we deserved anything from that game, and to have 10 or 15 minutes where we were 1 goal behind, I think flattered us. I thought from 10th minute onwards, Bradford just steamrolled us, and the frustrating thing is, we've had a good run of results. We've got those 2 back-to-back at home, 3 out of 4 at home. We went to Accrington. We should have won that game. We might talk about Accrington later, but we should have won that. And then we've lost again. So we've lost 2 on the bounce, and we're going into some difficult fixtures now. So hopefully, this team is a team that competes with everybody. So there's no reason they can't go and win the next 2. But you're starting to think, right, if we lose 2 or 3 now, that's 5 on the bounce. And then the atmosphere starts to change, which isn't right, but it will. Unfortunately, when you start losing games in blocks and winning games in blocks, it's a lot better if you lose one, win one, lose one, win one, isn't it? Just for how people perceive that. So hopefully we can pick up a couple of wins against some difficult teams coming up now.
It's and eventually we're going to start drawing some games, surely. That's maybe that's the worry I have, because of the way we've been. Whenever we've won games, they've, apart from a few notable exceptions, been quite. They've been by the odd goal, or they've been marginal games. When we've lost, we've been well beaten in a lot of them. So we've all said, haven't we, that we think we've been in a slightly false position, and we'll probably slide down, probably end up somewhere between about 10th and 14th by the end of the season. Which, by the way, would all have you snap your hands off before going to Fleetwood on the first day of the season. So, but Mike's right. There is no fundamental problem here. But if we lose again on Saturday, there will be some ridiculous noise that comes out that everyone should ignore.
Just really quick on that point you made, Sam, about false position. That's something I thought maybe a month or 2 ago, but I do struggle to get halfway through a season then still be able to say that, really. I see where you're coming from, absolutely. But we've played everybody, and we are where we are because we've beaten teams and we've lost to teams. So I think we're where we should be, really, to be honest with you. I think it's difficult to progress that argument when we're this far into a season.
I think
if you look at
sorry, Bruce.
No, I was just going to say, if you look at the table, though, it's so tight and it's so compact that if teams below us win their games in hands, we could be 12th, 11th or 12th anyway.
Yeah,
and then we probably are in our natural position.
That's probably the thing about just because of how tight it is. It maybe looks different than that. I haven't looked the last maybe the last game or so, but I think definitely after Accrington, only Walsall had won more games than us, and I think that's a relevant statistic as well. We can talk about losing games, etc. That's fine, but only Walsall, top of the league, had won more games than us, which I think is a statistic that sort of counteracts the opposite, if you see what I mean.
I think the statistic that for me that is the most concerning is the goals conceded. We are now second bottom in the goals conceded chart, 1 goal behind Swindon. And for someone put the stat up earlier on Twitter, I think it was Paul Savage. And he basically said that out of the 13 games that we've gone behind in this season, we've only even equalised, let alone come back in one of them games. So we do get the kind. It is the shit or bust thing again, isn't it? When we go behind, that seems to be it. The game is pretty much over, and we don't seem to fight, and we don't seem to kind of come back. Yesterday, we pulled the goal back. It's very similar to the Notts County away game, the Chesterfield away game this season, where we get even some of the home games. I think maybe I want to say Colchester at home where we pulled one back. I might be wrong about that.
No, we lost Colchester 1-0.
Yeah, it was one where we scored just before half time to make it 2-1. And then Barrow. Yeah. So we get a goal back, and you're thinking, okay, guys, we got a goal back. Let's show a bit of fight now. Let's at least give them a go. And we don't. It just seems to be, there's a random goal out of nowhere. We've got our token goal, and off we go again. And it was the same yesterday. Let's be honest, we didn't. What you said was absolutely right. We didn't deserve to be a goal down for 10 or 15 minutes in that second half, but we were. And at least let's show a bit of fight to try and get one back. And we didn't, did we? We just, again, I mean, again, and what Sam said earlier, I think maybe a Andy Cookless Bradford pressed a lot harder than what they would have with Andy Cook. They didn't play a direct ball. They actually tried to play football. They made life very difficult for our fullbacks, particular. I thought Denver Hume had his worst game that he'd had for us for a while. He wasn't allowed the ball for a lot of the game, and when he was defending the ball, he looked like Bambi on ice. But with that being said, like I said, yeah, we did. We just once we go behind, that seems to be it, and we don't seem to kind of do anything better than that.
I think with Denver Hume, there's him and maybe 1 or 2 that I could buy the argument of tiredness. I don't think Denver Hume's not played for a long time. You know, he's quite key to our attacking phase of play. So he does get quite high up the pitch and then get back. So he's doing a lot of up and down.
He's played the
him
full
and
94
McEachran,
games, isn't
him
he?
and McEachran are the ones I would think, yeah, I could understand that. But I think everybody else has had some time out and what have you. I must say, for the third goal, though, we did just part like the Red Sea, didn't we? Which considering midfield is so strong for us, I've not seen that for a long time. It was just absolutely part. Run with the ball, have a shot, off you go.
Yeah, that was like a goal we conceded last season. We conceded loads of goals like that last season, where our midfield just crumbled. Just going back to the points about the league. So and then yesterday, a load of sides lost points, didn't they? Maybe everybody's like us, and everybody's inconsistent, and that's why we're not in a false position. If you get me. Anyway, that's just wanted to make that point.
I think that's a valid point, Sam. I think you've only got to look at the points scored on this table and how kind of congested it is in the top half of the table. I think you're absolutely right. Besides Walsall, there isn't really any standout teams in this league. I think if somebody said to us after we played Donny, for example, who played us off the park, or Notts County when they played us off the park, that they'd only be kind of 4 or 5 points ahead of us over halfway through the season, I think you would have probably laughed your head off. But it's just the way this league is worked out. It is a bizarre league, and it's anybody's for the taking. It just needs a run from somebody, and at the moment Walsall are the only team putting them runs together.
On the thought about have a good, I think you're right, Youngie, about have a go. I think a good team yesterday, a good team can play poorly, steal a point yesterday. If they get back into 2-1, they put pressure on and they get, you know what I mean by steal a point. We wouldn't have deserved one, but a better side would have made it 2-2 and would have got away from a point which we probably wouldn't have deserved, which is probably a little thing that just indicates why this is one season too early for a serious promotion push. But then, you know, the league might be stronger next year. We might get a couple of, York might come up with all their money, or other sides might strengthen, and next season we could be back towards the sort of bottom third of the table. So I'm conflicted on the argument of go for it or not, if you see what I mean.
I think that if that happens, and that's terrible, I can't see it happening from what we're doing. I think we are slowly improving. You can see that all around the pitch. So if we get into next season, we're still in League Two, I would be convinced we would improve again. If the league improves, so can we. I think I said to you guys in the group, sometimes when I see bits and pieces, I think our lofted position has made people judge us from a relatively high standpoint, which if we was knocking about mid-table the entire season, we wouldn't be judging them from that standpoint. It's because we've been in and around the playoffs and in and around the automatics. We just seem to be judging the team from maybe a heightened degree of being too critical, really, because I don't think they're a top 4, 5, 6 side. And sometimes I think some of the criticism is based on them being around there.
I think we've been mediocre or poor for so long now that people have just got a little bit giddy, and you can't blame them. You know, we've been tossing it off in the bottom of League Two and the conference for 20 years nearly. Not 20 years, sorry, 15 years. But we've been crap for longer than that, and it's just, I think they just keep, like you say, if we were sort of mid-table, sloshing around 14th, and we've been there all season, but they just keep doing these little, we'll lose a couple, then we'll win one, and we're back to the fringes of the playoffs again. If we lose the next two, or we pick up 1 point, or we pick up even a couple of points, then, like you say, people are going to get frustrated because we've been up there and they got their hopes up and then they've been dashed. It's going to be difficult to temper that, people's feelings and to control them. But I mean, luckily, Artel doesn't seem the sort that listens to the noise that goes on. But those of us that sort of criticise or disagree with those who react to every defeat like it's the end of the world and every win we're going up, you're just going to see more of that. And I think we're just going to have to accept that.
I think a good demonstration of that is if you go back to the Accrington game at half time, I don't think any of us were any different from me, where I thought, we've just had this good run, we're on the back of a few wins, we're in and around the automatics. And I thought the first half we were fantastic. And the frustrating thing is we play such good football, well, relatively speaking, such good football in the first half at Accrington. We think that game should be dead and buried. We should have won that. We lose that. That's frustrating. And then we don't turn up at Bradford. And that just goes to show you those margins, doesn't it? If we'd won at Accrington, nobody would be having the conversations they're having. But because of that, not getting over the line in certain games and not getting maybe what we deserved against Accrington, you just change the entire mindset, and the narrative becomes a little bit more different.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mike. But then, would it surprise you if we went and beat Notts County next week? Sorry, next week. No, and we won.
Wouldn't surprise me another 5-5, mate. To be honest.
No. By the way both sides play. I mean, I know we were well beaten by Notts County in the season, but all 4 of the goals had some element of fortune about them, whether it be a terrible penalty decision or the goal being clearly offside or massively deflected. So, and we're similar on points with them. I think. What Bruce has chimed with me. I've got giddy thinking I've never known. We were 5th at the start of the year. I've never known that's the highest we've ever been in the pyramid in my memory. So I'm going to admit I got giddy. But I don't mind if my temper's it does you good to kind of get grounded again after you've had your expectations raised. I mean, we've bemoaned, haven't we, for years about it's another season of seeing if we can scrape to 50 points in League Two, and then we'll inevitably go back to the conference again. At least and I think, generally speaking, it's good that we're not that anymore. We have progressed as a football club on the back of and that was the base of sacking Hurst and so on, that we're not doing this floating around anymore. We're going to get better as a football club, and that's kudos to a load of people involved.
Bruce, do you want to go through some of the comments that have been put on the chat?
How do I see them?
After he does, Youngie, do you want to tell us about Accrington, because you were there, weren't you, doing your at the match thing?
Yeah,
I was in France, obviously.
Yeah, you were in France. I'll quickly run through. Yeah, you've proven there was Celine Dion and everything. They clearly listened to Hello over there. Yeah. And you did very well to go over there because of the weather. That is why Alex is not here today, because he couldn't get to France yesterday. You see, bad weather, and he couldn't make it through. But a little bit. Yeah, a little bit about Accrington. If you haven't listened to already, the podcast is up of At the Match, myself, Jack Spring, and the Mazdams. And my niece Tilly as well. We went to Accrington. We had a fun day out despite the football. But yeah, very disappointing result. We played quite well in the first half. I thought at times we played some nice football. Maybe didn't get it down enough, and started the second half well enough as well. I thought Kieran Green should have scored, and I think if that makes it 3-1, I think we go on and win considerably. But we let them into the game, and really it was our own doing. It was all our own doing. It wasn't like Bradford, where you can say, yeah, absolutely, we were the second best team. I don't feel we were for most of the game. I think the substitutions affected us negatively on here we go. So he's got thank you, you stopped me rambling.
He's cracked it. So there you go. I could see him thinking.
So Luke Clarkson, this one feels like one of these centres you can take your kids to, and they do grown-up jobs for the afternoon, driving diggers about and such like. I tell you what, this is what it is. This is the Play Avenue of podcasts today. Alex has let us put our tabards on and drive a digger, and we're all having some fun.
Kids, Sam used to run the country. Well, that's probably right then.
Yeah. Ben Hill was an adult.
Used to, mate. Emphasis on used to.
Yeah. Ben Hill, there's an adult superstore 3 doors down from a primary school. Think that sums up Bradford. Well, kids have got to learn at some age, haven't they? Birds of the bees and all that.
I'm not going next season. I've made a decision that I am doing something. I'm specifically
to the adult store.
No, to Bradford next season. If we're in the same league,
Sam's discovered the internet, so we don't need the adult store anymore.
I tell you, there's some good things on that internet, Sam.
Oh, Dave Riley, hello, Dave, my former BT work colleague. The Athletic did a table for all 4 divisions in 2024, and we are the worst of the 92 teams for coming back when going behind. There you go.
What a terrible statistic. If you look at there's this great thing called That's So EFL on Twitter, and they do a series of stats of most goals conceded this century, most worst goal difference this century, and we are objectively the worst team to have played in the league this century, because we've spent so much time. Even when we're in the second tier, we're in the bottom, the bottom end of it, where we're sort of losing so many games.
Look, I wear that badge with pride. Mediocre is key. If you keep your expectations low, then figure. Tacklebury just moaned that we're looking as miserable as he feels. Daniel Randall can tell Axis here football is so talking about. Yeah, I can't argue with that point. Evening, Alex. Justine, 8 of 12 losses in League Two have been versus teams using 3 centre backs in systems. If you are to believe transfer market stats, that's a good point, and I wouldn't be against us going 3 centre backs on Saturday against Notts County.
No, I
it.
thought we'd figured that out. To be honest with you, against Port Vale, who did that, we played our wingers quite narrow, and it seemed to cause them all sorts of problems, and sort of went 5-on-5 in the final third. Because we said, didn't we, Youngie, that we thought Luca and Ainley were playing sort of like we had 3 number 10s sort of thing.
Yeah, that was the difference.
I thought we'd sorted that out.
That was the difference yesterday. Without Luca and I can't believe I'm saying this, Greeny, we didn't get anybody remotely close to Rose. So it's all. I didn't think Rose played desperately well yesterday, but he was feeding off nothing because he had no one close to him. Rose needs players close. He needs people running beyond him. Otherwise, you might as well not bother. Because Rose, for all the fact we love him, isn't going to run in behind. He's not got the pace taking away from a defender. He's going to mix it. He's going to lay it off. He's going to wind up the opposition. But he's not going to run in behind. He's a League Two player who's limited in his own way. So. Did he mention? I haven't heard all of Artel's interview. Did he mention how serious Green's injury is? Assuming it is an injury.
2 or 3 weeks.
He said it's more of a knock. He doesn't think it's too serious, but he didn't want to risk it like he risked it before. Basically, I think that was the general consensus. So hopefully he's not out for too long. Thompson's still not back yet, which is again concerning that he's got another injury. But we'll talk about the win in a bit because
he's approaching sick note status. He is Thompson. And
everybody's got a sick note with you, Sam. They're off for a week. They missed 1 game, and then that's it. Crops.
Thompson's barely played this season, and I know who you're thinking of. And he's apparently back next month for a whole 6 weeks before he inevitably gets injured again. So, we can reopen that debate.
Don't make me do the stats again for you.
Right, when you two have finished arguing, I'm going to lob an advert break in. Hang on.
I love arguing with him. It's great.
Wow. I tell you what, lads, them advertisements just then, it makes me want to buy the product mentioned on the advertisement so much, so hard.
If you have the problem described in the previous advert, please buy the previous product, whatever it was.
Yes, buy them products.
Yeah.
Good marketing there, Mike.
I've just got to find Josh's comment again so I can unshow it because I left it on during the adverts.
It's more like bring your dad to work.
I'll read it quickly because in case of the audio. I noticed in the highlights, and I've noticed a few times this season, the amount of space we leave between the lines for the opposition to go into and cause us issues. It happens too often. Yeah, it does happen too often.
I'd say that. I noticed that against who was it? Was it Port Vale? I think it was Port Vale. I think we try and nab the ball. You know, we do press, and I think we try and nab the ball when we could probably sit in a bit deeper. Not sitting in deep, obviously, but after half time against Port Vale, do you remember they had a bit of pressure and had a bit of possession out wide, especially before we came back into the game. And I think we caused a lot of our own problems by being very high and trying to nick the ball in positions where we probably shouldn't be trying to nick the ball. And it's a difficult one because you want them to play like that, but it's that intricacy of knowing exactly when and when not to do it, isn't it? And you know, you can't bemoan them for trying to do something you want them to do. They just have to get a little bit more street smart with that.
Our biggest issue defensively is just allow far too many crosses to come into our box. We're not particularly bad at defending them once they're in. I mean, I've been critical of Rodgers is particularly pretty good at heading away balls that come into the box. But if you allow as many balls into the box as we do, you're going to concede some. So I bet it just happened to be that George McKeffen was ball watching yesterday, but if we conceded from any other of the 15 crosses we put into the box in our first half, there would have been issues with that as well. So we've got to do something to stop that. I mean, Hume, it's a bit like no, I'm not going to say that. Hume's great going forward. He's the leading assister in League Two. When he sort of cuts inside on, there's very little we can do to stop him but foul him. So you think you just have to accept with him that he has his vulnerabilities defensively, but my word, you get it back in spades, going the other way. And Artel's obviously happy to make that compromise.
I'd like to see the stats on that. You know, you might be right, Sam, but I just wonder, do we have a bit of recency bias after the game against Bradford? Because I know we had this problem at the start of the season. By God, we did. Everything was going into the box. I can't remember us having too much of an issue the last month or two. For me, Cass had started to impress me with those things. I think Hume's tightened up a lot. So, yeah, we had that problem. And most teams at this level, you know, the crosses are going to go into the box. That's what League Two football's about. But the amount and the type of crosses, I do think we've tightened that up quite well. Probably still more to do, but I don't know if we're as bad as we were at the start of the season because everything was going into the box then. You're quite right.
Do you think in the games where we struggle, do you think Artell moves quick enough to change things? And do we mix things up? We often seem to do a lot of like for like substitutions.
Well, how many times have we had this debate over the years?
I don't think he's got much. What's he? How could he change it up yesterday? He's got like for like players.
He could have got
maybe. But I think on the flip side, I think a few times he's won games doing it. So I think it's one of these where I'm not so sure.
I think he's okay making subs when we're on top because I think he does recognise when players are tired and he can bring them off. And I think Port Vale was a prime example of that. And he did change the system against Port Vale. When we were on the up, he went to 3 in the back, shored it up, ended up scoring twice more with Van Fornson playing in the middle. But I'm not sure he affects the games when we're down, when we're losing too much, or when we're chasing a game. I think that's probably the thing that maybe Artell struggles with a little bit. Not to say that again. I think the personnel is an issue. Absolutely, there was maybe nothing stopping us though. Perhaps giving Rose a bit somebody to work with yesterday, maybe for the last half an hour, going 2 up top quite a little bit quicker. Maybe switching to 3 in the back. But yeah, I think it's certainly. I think he's better than Hurst at substitutions, but generally, he's still the jury's out still.
Maybe it's because a lot of the games we did lose were when we had, when we had that issue with we had those injuries and there was literally nothing. You were putting wing backs into midfield and stuff like that. You're quite right. I mean, it was quite obvious even at 2-1 yesterday we weren't in the game. So I'd have liked to have seen a change early on and think, well, it's been half time. We've given them all the information. They've come out, they've scored. We've nabbed one back, but it's still obvious we're behind the 8 ball on this. Change it up a little bit. Put 5 at the back, put 2 up top, maybe put Wilson on with Rose or Pike on and just try and alter it. Because yesterday, you're quite right. At no point yesterday, other than the first 10 minutes, did we look like we were going to win. That being said, against Accrington, I thought all through most of the game, we looked like we're the better side. But maybe he would have freshened it up in key areas to try and get us playing a bit more. Because I think the second half we did stop playing football as much as we did in the first half.
Accrington was frustrating because it felt like we threw that away.
Yeah,
but we felt like we were. It felt like we were clearly the better of the two sides, and we found a way to lose that game. Yes, the referee made some decisions, but we should have been out of sight by then, and a good team that was challenging Walsall would have been out of sight.
That is a kind of, again, I want to put this is positivity here again.
You're feeling well.
In these days, in this new era where we are better, sides like a case in point against Morecambe, a case in point against Harrogate, a case in point earlier in the season against Cheltenham, we were better than these sides. Like you actually could see we were better than them. I've not seen that for us in the league. We're beating sides, well, we've never been better, and we were better than them.
We're better than Port Vale?
Yeah, we're better than Port Vale, exactly. We're better than Port Vale. But I can't remember us actually winning games by being better than them, apart from this season in my consciousness.
Oh, sorry, this season, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, this season, we have been better than all the teams. The Accrington result actually reminded me of a couple of those games in the first season back in the league. We managed to contrive to lose at Hartlepool, who were terrible, and we should have been out of sight. It reminded me of that. Really, really a result that really annoyed you. Town results rarely annoy me. I kind of usually when we get beat, I just shrug my shoulders and move on. Get on weekend. It really, really annoyed me, the one on New Year's Day.
What do we think of Wright coming out of that Accrington game? I know he had a decent game against Bradford. I know me and Sam disagreed a little bit. I thought some of the saves were at him at Bradford, but you still got to make them. But I thought at Accrington, he was poor. I thought the first goal and the third goal, he should have stopped.
Wright made 5 saves yesterday. That must have been the most saves by a Grimsby Town keeper since James McEwen in about 2019. I I quite like Wright. He's a bit of a mixed bag, but he's a League Two keeper who's going to be flawed, and he's not played that much football. I think he's got better over the course of the season, and I think prior to that Accrington game, nobody was having a conversation about do we need a better keeper, but he wasn't. I mean, the first one, I know you, but you put in the group that you thought, right, maybe we should save the first one. But he's really caught the lad's really caught it well.
But he's dived out the way of it. If it's straight at you, and why are you moving away from it? I might be being harsh. It might be the third goal that's tainting me here. But with Wright, I feel for that. I want him to do well because as a goalkeeper in that position, if you do something wrong, that's it. If you're right back, somebody bails you out, you don't notice it. But Wright doesn't fill me with any confidence at all. I don't think he looks confident, even with the ball at his feet. I think he just exudes nervousness throughout the team, or throughout when I'm watching. I get nervous for him.
Mike, I'm just looking at the contracts. Eastwood's contract is up this summer. Wright is up in June 2026. Which of the two would you rather keep?
Well, it depends because I would want a number one choice. So out of those two, I would keep Eastwood because I think he probably costs less and is a better number two. I don't think Wright. I think from where Wright came from as a number one, I think he's probably on more money than Eastwood. And I personally, and I hope he does. I hope Wright comes in as a massive half of the season. Because I don't like to dig goalkeepers out because it's a tough position. But if he doesn't, I think we need somebody new.
But we're not going to release him. You wouldn't expect, though, would you?
No, we're not. That's why I hope he comes good. But I'm worried about him. He just looks full of nerves.
Yeah, Artell said in his pre-match that definitely not getting a goalkeeper in. He said that Eastwood's going to be back in a month, and that he's perfectly happy with the setup. He thinks it's a waste of budget if they bring a goalkeeper in. So that's apparently by all accounts, unless Wright has a real stinker to the rest of the month, that ain't happening. Another goalkeeper is not coming in.
Just to go on as well from what you were talking about earlier, I've just been looking at the results, and we were winning one and losing one. Well, we're now losing two and then winning two. We beat Accrington 5-2, which was good. We beat Morecambe 3-0 and looked. I mean, I know they were dog shit, but we looked really convincing. Then we lost at home to Crewe 2-0, Swindon 3-1, and then we beat Harrogate 2-1 and Port Vale 3-0, and then we've gone on to lose the last two games.
There you go. Bruce is saying lump on.
We're going to beat Notts County and Chesterfield.
Yeah. So, but I mean, then we've got. You see, Gillingham sat the manager today,
and appointed John Coleman, who's a good manager at this level.
Yeah. They sacked him. And
bizarre appointment, though. Really,
it's just till the end of the season, isn't it? Is it just for stability? Do you think they might have a better chance of getting who they want in the summer? Perhaps I don't know.
And they spent a lot of money. It's probably somebody that knows his way around the league and get them playing or something. I must admit, I'm not focusing on Gillingham as much as I probably should be, but I seem to remember them spending a fair few quid. Them and Colchester.
Gillingham. When we played Gillingham, they were undefeated, weren't they?
They were.
They had an amazing start to the season they were top of the league when we played them and beat them. And since then, we Grim Reapered them, didn't we? Because they've been pretty awful.
They haven't lost at home all year or something, had they?
No, they haven't lost at home for a year. I actually, because they were on the telly on Thursday night, so I actually, because I wasn't enough watched it, and Gillingham were awful. I was surprised it took until Sunday for them to sack the manager because you could hear the natives getting on their back. And we play them at the end of the month on a Tuesday night, don't we, Matt Bruce?
I'm just looking that the next six fixtures: Notts County at home, Chesterfield at home, Barrow away, which is always difficult. Gillingham at home,
especially if you go that Wetherspoons.
Bromley away, yeah, definitely.
Not Wetherspoons. Not Wetherspoons. Don't start all this.
It's shit, that place.
I've only just calmed down.
Bromley away and Carlisle at home, and that's up till the 8th of February. So they're all within about a calendar month. 6 fixtures.
That is a tough run because Chesterfield and Notts County are good sides, as you said. A trip to Barrow is always difficult. Gillingham will have a new manager bounce, and Bromley lost today for the first time in about 15. So that's no gimme by any stretch of the imagination.
And if Carlisle haven't picked up, they'll probably have a new manager by then because they hate Mike Williamson, absolutely hate him.
I think they will. The money they're spending, I think he'll come good at there. Actually, I'm surprised he left MK Dons when he did. If you remember back to just before we got rid of Hurst, he was the person I think everybody in League Two wanted. But you say about that run of games, but I think we judge ourselves from a different standard from where we are now. I think we're a team that will always compete. You know, we'll have games where we're shit. We've seen that. We'll have games where we're good and we'll win. So there's nobody in this division, from what I've seen already, that if we're on our game, we won't turn up and get 3 points against. We just have to do that consistently, which we've not done.
And there are also sides that if we turn up, we will. If we turn up and play to our level, we will beat them. There are sides in the league who are worse than us, which is unprecedented, as I was saying earlier on. We've had a lot of serious talk about football tonight, haven't we? This is
basically
bizarre.
it's the Gattuso thing, isn't it? Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit. That's basically it.
Well, I can stop the serious talk of football because there's a comment earlier that I saw from Robert Mooney. Can you find it, Bruce?
Robert earlier.
Tommy's lad from 810.
There you go.
So having to catch up was late on the podcast, but the biggest head loss of the week has to be Dan Fraser and his argument with the Bradford fan. Bruce, have you got the head loss of the week graphic?
I can have a look for it if we just talk really slowly on 0.5 speed.
Because I think usually we make I've got it on my phone. Usually we make the video as a whole and upload it.
Yeah,
Biggest head loss of the week.
There we go. So, thanks, Bruce. I have found the tweet now. I hate to dig out our own supporters. I don't think, to be fair, this is because he's not a head loss against the team. But in this argument with the Bradford fan, I've got the comment that he made. And Dan Fraser, whoever you are, this is not a dig at you. We all get a bit emotive after games are finished. I'm sure you're normally a very sensible, well-mannered person. This is the comment that he...
But
it started off in a conversation where Dan's spelling maybe wasn't the best, and the Bradford fan replied, "What BTEC language is this even written in?" ? Which he replied, "Mate, don't need to brag, but yeah, I got a first at uni, so go fuck yourself. I'll go home to my £500,000 house, shag my beautiful wife, while you wank off to 3 points. Enjoy your win, have a shandy, and feel drunk. #Bell End."
I'm with him. Well done.
Yeah. So, Dan, congratulations. You have won head loss of the week, but we're secretly admiring of your run towards the
Biggest head loss of the week.
Surely the biggest head loss of the week is going to be Alex when he finds out he's actually been ousted.
Yeah.
No, I'm as I said earlier, I'm morally manoeuvrable, and I'm siding with Alex now.
We know, mate. You remember the Labour Party.
Andrew, should we talk about Andrew Pettit's interview?
Mm-hmm.
Did anyone listen to this before the Accrington game? He was interviewed by Matt Dean. Suggested firstly that players will have to leave if we are to bring players in during this window. So, are we speculating on who may go?
I would reckon. I've got a theory here. I think Pike and Wilson, when they came in and the deals they came in on, are probably on a fair whack in comparison to what they should be on. Because I think these were two players. We needed strikers, and I think we went and we got two, and I reckon they're on a fair bit of money. And that they don't deserve that level of money for what they've given to the team. So I think we need to move 2 or 3 out to bring 2 or 3 in, because I think we're probably close to our budget, from what Andrew Pettit says, which isn't an issue. I think we've got a team with some assets in it, and some potential in it, which I think I said the other week. I can't remember how long ago it is since I've said that. We've usually had shit and no budget. So yeah, I reckon those 2 players would probably have to go before we start bringing people in. Whether it's a case of having to balance the books overall or waiting till they go out, I would probably think we could bring players in on the proviso we need to move these players out at some point.
The issue might be that. Sorry, Bruce.
No, you go, mate.
The issue is, I think we'd all like to ship out. I mean, the dream, in my view, would be if we could kind of ship out Pike and Wilson and combine the wages and see if we could find a really, really, really good League Two striker. But I was told last season that Pike's one of the highest earners at the club. So, given that if he goes, he's going to have to probably drop into the conference and take a wage cut. I think you'll do well to ship him out, unless we can get someone to pay part of his wages on loan. But that's my view on that one. There isn't that much. The squad's quite stretched as it is. That we don't have a massive squad.
I was just going to say that
much manoeuvrability to kind of get players out. Firstly, and also, sorry, Bruce.
No, sorry, no, I interrupted, mate. Go on. Sorry, I'll wait till you're finished.
I've lost my thread now. But what the other thing I would say is that there aren't actually. I mean, I know Mike has his views on the goalkeeper. That there isn't actually any position on the pitch that really stands out to me as needs improving. Cass has improved. I thought fullback was an area. Rodgers has been much better this season. I think there are probably some positions that you really want to challenge, like you probably need a better centre half and a better centre forward. But there's nothing. It's not glaring like it often is at this time.
I think sorry. Just before Bruce goes, I think we are desperate for a winger. I
think, Sam, the only player that you could possibly look adding to those two, who is on a decent wage. We've got 2 or 3 young kids that'll be on peanuts anyway, so that's not going to free up any wages. Is Matty Carson. That I can't think of anybody else in the squad. I'm not going to read the squad out, but they're either all involved in the matchday squad, there or thereabouts, or they're injured.
He's already talked about potentially letting Carson go out on a loan, hasn't he? Because he's a young player and he's not getting a shot. I think he said that Corey could fill there. The only other one to the 3 we've mentioned is maybe Ainley, but whether he's on a fortune or not, I don't know whether that would really affect it too much. I've just not seen enough from Ainley to warrant being in the match day squad.
Carson's only made 7 league appearances this.
The only thing that you could maybe that he could maybe look to do is move out somebody that would surprise us. Somebody who's out of contract sort of this summer perhaps. But again, there aren't that many. We dished out quite a lot of good contracts. It's going to be tough to move somebody on. It's not going to give us a lot of scope because I think, like I say, there's really it's those 2, and like I say, whether you can get somebody to contribute to Matty Carson's wages, but apart from that, they're all involved. Unless there's going to be, unless we maybe do have to cash in on somebody that's worth a bit.
I mean,
to invest in the squad, that's the way forward. That's what we're going to do.
That presumes we keep hold of everybody. So I know there's rumour, isn't there, that Denver Hume had some interest, and Artel saying his pre-match conference he was talking about giving him a new deal. That would probably tie in with that, because that'd probably be the reason you'd want to talk to somebody about a new deal. But it also presumes we managed to keep hold of players like McJanet. Now, I think a left-footed centre back that's as good on the ball as him, and he's had a couple of dodgy moments in the past 2 games, but I think he's had a fantastically solid season. I think people will be looking at him. We're always told, aren't we, there's a lack of left-footed centre backs, and if you can find one, they're usually like gold dust. So I think there'll be a few teams looking at him.
I think McEachran's an interesting one. He's got that gold dust ability of being able to receive the ball on his left foot and play it on his right, and he knows where he's passing the ball before he's received it. If you look at other players, they have to receive it, control it, then look up and go. He'll have a career at a higher division. And isn't he on a 3-year deal, though? So get your checkbooks out.
Who was that?
McEachran.
Yeah. I think McEachran shows his technical ability and where he's had a good pedigree, coming through that Chelsea academy and playing in that England underage squad. Obviously didn't go well from at Swindon, I think it was, but I think he's shown that his ability far outweighs League Two, and it's nice to see that a player that has obviously had a fall from grace, playing for Chelsea and England, going to Swindon and Grimsby, but he's obviously got something about him that he's been able to sort of stop that reset. And I think, him McJanet are above League Two, in my opinion.
Right, we've got it's a conversation. It's a long conversation for another day, but we've only got 6 players out of contract this summer that belong to us.
Who are they?
That's it. Well, I'll tell you who they are. Danny Rose, Raquel Pike, and Donovan Wilson, Curtis Thompson, Callum Ainley, Denver Hume, and Jake Eastwood, and that's it. Everyone else is under contract.
And I think apart from Hume, they will likely all be released at the end of the season.
Depends what Thompson does with injuries. If Thompson's a bit in and out for the rest of the season, yes. But if he plays the rest of the season, plays well, then maybe not. It also depends where we are. If Thompson plays well and we're still in League Two, he's probably the sort of player you want about the place. The rumour is that, you know how much you believe, but I hear Wilson might already be sorted out because he nearly left last January, didn't he, to Crawley. But it sounds like he might have got something sorted out for going back down south.
We can't con Crawley out of another load of money for a player of ours who's not good enough, can we? Like we did with Malarkey.
And the thing with Pike, I know you say he's got another 6 months left and he can sit there taking a wage, but if you're thinking for career progression, he's not an old player. You would, in January, you'd want to get yourself out and get something sorted for next year, because if the music stops in the summer, where are you? You might not have a club, might not have a profession. So I think players like that will, so close to the end of the deal, you might be able to sweeten it a bit with an extra little bonus on top for cancelling contract. But I think he'll be very eager to get somewhere and get something sorted for next season.
Yeah, it's a good point on Pike. I think he hasn't exactly got a gleaming show reel to show off from his 2 years at Grimsby, has he? A few goals in the Checkatrade Trophy and a couple of goals against Slough in the FA Cup. But it's not exactly what you would call kind of, you can't see people queuing out the door when his contract runs out to sign Rakil Pike, and he's not probably going to be a priority signing for many clubs.
People do take gambles on strikers, though.
True. There are many
positions where you usually get
many strikers. Yeah.
No, and they're even lower now than they used to be. And trust me, I know it's easy to get a job when there isn't a mad scramble, when loads of people have been lost their jobs at a similar stage, which effectively is what the summer is for footballers every year. So, but I think Pike's a better player. There's a better player in there than the one we've seen. I thought, for example, his flick that led to the green chance at Accrington and then Curry scored. That was a bit of quality. He looked really good in in Artel's first game at Milton Keynes last year before he sadly went off injured. So I wouldn't be surprised if Pike's another one of these who we've had for a bit and goes somewhere else and does better than us. I think.
Carl Tolbert, anyone think Jackson Smith might sign late in the window?
I can't say, because he would only come if he's going to be the number one. And from what Artel has said, which may be just trying to give confidence to your goalkeeper, which seems to have worked because, he had a really good game against Bradford, so you've got to give him that credit. If Jackson Smith's coming on loan from League One, it's because he's playing football. And then how do you deal with the fact you've effectively dropped your number one choice? How's that going to affect his confidence? So it's a difficult one to manage, but that's why they're football managers.
I think Brad's got better though, and I think he'll continue to get. He's not played that much football. I think. Sorry, Mike.
I was going to wait to finish. I was going to say that's a very good point from Pete that some people won't be able to see if they're listening. It says, I think Andrew Pettit was managing expectations. We have money, just not advertising the fact. 2 in regardless of who leaves. I think that's a very important point. We've said this before. I think Andrew and Jason learnt a lesson after the FA Cup, and we publicised we'd got money. Mentioned to the fans that we were, had a few quid, the budget's bigger. Even Paul Hurst was happy with his budget. My God, Yorkshireman happy with money. And I think they've learned that lesson. I think a couple of times we may have been done over a little bit in that window, and that's when we signed Pike and Wilson. So I think that's right. I don't think they will ever say we've got money to spend ever again, because I think agents hear that, they know about it. And it's your job. Get me wrong, if I'm an agent and I've got a player and I know I can get him 10% more by being a twat about it, I'm going to do it because it's my job. So don't advertise that fact. I think he's quite right.
Ben Hill and Richard both mentioned about Thompson being out of contract, and would it be wise to maybe moving on? The thing is with Thompson is what a good player he is, and if you can get him fit, he's a real asset to the team. He's a real quality player to have. The question is, as Sam mentions, his appearance record ain't great. He has got a bad injury record here, and not just here, but the seasons previous to joining here as well. Are we going to get enough from Curtis Thompson to justify his wage?
The thing about Thompson is he did an interview at the end, because he played basically every minute in the second half of last season. He said that was his longest period injury-free for 8 years. So it's just, I mean, that's why he's at this level, because you can see the way he plays, the way he moves the ball, and so on. That he's better than League Two. I know I'm short. Have a low on patience with players who are perennially injured, but I think there may be a case for it. But I don't think we will. I think we'll keep him to the end of his contract, and if he, as we said before, we'll ship him. We'll be released if he's injured. If he plays the second half of the season, he'll probably get a new deal.
It just depends on how much you get out of him. I think if we did get rid of him, you'd have to bring somebody else in, because we've only got Corey and McEachran. Other than that, who, and I know new age of football, central midfielder players, but the rest of our midfield players, you don't think of those two that are going to be in the middle of the park bossing it about. Green's now gone on a bit further up the pitch. Davis, I think he can control the ball quite well on a good day, but I don't think he's one of those you have in the middle of the park doing it. And I don't want to see Ainley in there having to win challenges at all. So then you only have two if he goes.
Okay. Is it the blue kit's fault?
Yes, it is. Yes. Absolutely is.
And should we sign the Seagull? Yes or no?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So finally, quickly, before we go to Bruce's game, quickly, a couple of words. What position is priority in the window? Mike?
Centre back, winger, striker.
That's 3 positions, but fine. Sam?
If I was being, if I had to pick one, I'd want a really outstanding right-sided centre back.
And Bruce?
I think we need another wide player. I wouldn't be averse to letting Barrington go back. I haven't seen enough from him. And I think if we're going to continue to play the way that we do, it might be controversial, but we need somebody similar to a Bikwu that's going to play on the shoulder up front rather than the way that Danny Rose plays. And that's nothing against Danny Rose. I don't think we are playing to suit his game. He looks a lot better at the moment coming off the bench for 20 minutes.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with Barrington as well.
Yeah, I think Barrington, I don't think he's a wide player. I'd like to see him play a little bit central, because when I've seen him play central, he's looked good. And I think that wide player thing is really, really key. If we can get wide players that get up alongside Danny Rose, I think that brings a lot out of him. At the minute, we've got these technical players that haven't got the pace and don't cut inside or get up with him. I think if you did that and had Vernham and another pacey winger, I think that completely changes the outlook up front.
It'd be absolutely game-changing if you could get Vernham fit for the last 4 months of the season, because he would run beyond. He takes men on. He can go either way. He's a better player than League Two.
He was our best player before he got injured. Best player by a mile.
He is, but that's why I'm not going to rerun the arguments about the injury. But he would be brilliant for Rose's game. But it would be game-changing because he would do all those things. But we did it against Port Vale because you got Green and Luca close to him, and Green running. And we also need. When did we last have a midfielder other than Green who, like Diz style, used to run and get beyond the strikers? That'd be a great sign if we could sign somebody like that, like a 26-year-old Craig Disley.
Don't make me start talking about Paul Groves when the calendar's game's due.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce, hide that comment because we're about to start the calendar's game.
Talk amongst yourselves. Right, yes. Right.
I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Right, who hasn't played the calendar's game? Sorry. Everyone's played the calendar's game. Who wants to be the judge tonight? Who wants to be Alex?
I'll judge. I'll be Alex tonight.
I
won the
last one.
one.
I'm not allowed to be judged because I don't know enough of the players.
No, because you'd vote Harry Clifton over somebody from no, that's probably fair.
No way I would vote for Harry Clifton in that scenario. Harry Clifton or Paul Groves, I'm not going to say Harry Clifton.
Right. If Mike doesn't come back in by the time the credits have rolled, then you two are playing, and I am the judge until Mike reappears, because this new pod waits for no one.
Okay. And welcome. It is a blue January. Our shirt has been blue. Our form has been blue. But don't be blue anymore, because it's the time for the best part of the month on DN35. Yes, it is the calendar's game, and I'm handing over to your host, Mr. Bruce Fenwick.
Thank you, Richard. Right, tonight we've got Richard the judge. Richard is playing Alex. We've got.
Can you not
Sam.
do Alex does and change the rules halfway through? Can you make sure you're consistent?
Right,
I will be consistent.
What game show have you ever heard where one of the contestants interrupts the presenter while they're introducing the show?
Now, hang on, Mr. Forsyth. I just want to have my say here.
Bloody hell!
Can
Right,
Sam not cheat this time?
right, Youngie, you'll have to forgive me. You turned over the. Look, I haven't got a calendar for January. Look, I've had to make my own.
He hasn't got a calendar for January.
I haven't got a calendar. I haven't got a 2025 calendar, so I've had to make my own. Look, Clive Mendonca with his crown on.
Bruce, I've noticed a bit of a critical.
I told you it was on the
game.
January calendar, Bruce.
Yeah, I know, but I've forgotten.
It was Denver Hume.
Oh, there you go,
Denver
Denver Hume.
Denver Hume is your starting card. Sam, as the youngest player, you will go second. Mike.
Hello.
Higher or lower than Denver Hume?
Higher.
Higher than Denver Hume. You've gone for 2023. This could be close.
Oh, I think you might be in trouble here.
I'll tell you what, if it's Glennon.
Oh, January 2023 is John McAtee.
Oh, there you go.
John McAtee is higher than Denver Hume. We don't need Richard's adjudication for that.
Yeah.
So, John McAtee, higher or lower than John McAtee, Mike?
Lower. I'm banking on one of those shit years.
Okay.
There are
well,
so many crap calendars in there, aren't there?
You've got the 2001 championship season. And you have got... Oh. Richard. You've got David Smith. David Smith or John McAtee? I'll hand that one over to Richard, the judge.
How many got to move to a Premier League side? Just saying.
Firstly, he didn't.
I think David Smith played in the first division.
He did, and they were a championship side when he signed for him. I'm going to say, yeah, David Smith is a winner. He's a double winning Wembley season. Good, dependable hand. Played at a higher level. My opinion is David Smith is higher than John McAtee.
Okay, unlucky Mike. Over to Sam then. David Smith.
Lucky about it. It's fixed.
David Smith played in the championship. Sam.
I'm gonna go lower than David Smith because the chances are.
Well, you've got 2020, Sam.
Oh, I think I'm alright.
I would say you're pretty safe.
Congrats, Sam.
You've got Elliot Whitehouse.
Ooh, that's a tough one, Youngie.
We need Youngie for that. Elliot Whitehouse has got a lovely. He looks like Dolph Lundgren in Rocky, but we are going that you are correct. Elliot Whitehouse is lower than David Smith. So Elliot Whitehouse,
he has got the best assist I've ever seen in football.
I'm sorry, one swallow doesn't make a summer. Right. Anyway,
Aaron Green at Wimbledon.
No,
right.
He just passed it to Vernon, didn't he? He just passed it 5 yards.
Right. Okay. So Elliot Whitehouse.
Oh, that's because Elliot Whitehouse is better than a lot of the shit players we've had. He wasn't that good. I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna guess higher.
Okay. Well, you've got 2022, so anything could happen here.
Oh, this is interesting.
I think we're going to need Richard again. But then is this at town or is it in the career in general? Because it is Giles Coke. Giles Coke v. Elliot Whitehouse.
Well, Coke's a better player than Whitehouse.
Coke is better. Yes, I agree that Coke is a better player.
What did you say, higher or lower?
He said higher.
I was going because that has an effect on my opinion.
But for Grimsby, he barely played. Barely played, did he? Nice guy. Everyone said he's a lovely bloke, but I'm going to have to say lower than Elliot.
Okay. Mike, you're back in the hot seat with Giles Coke. Unlucky, Sam.
I'm going to say higher than Giles Coke.
Okay, well, you've got last year's 2024 calendar. Who can believe 2024 was last year already? And you have got Giles Coke, and you went, what did you go?
Higher.
You've got Harry Clifton.
Oh, thank you.
Winner.
Yeah. Richard and I are in agreement there. Okay, Mike.
We've had a lot of newer one. I'm banking on us having an older one. I'm going to say higher than Harry Clifton.
Higher than Harry Clifton? You've got 1998, and they have been shuffled. So, January 1998, double Wembley winner, goal scorer, Kevin Donovan.
He is top tier. Top tier.
I think you'd do well for anybody to be higher than Donovan.
We need some Grimsby Town top trumps, and then we could all play. Right.
It won't surprise you. I'm going lower. I nearly said Donovan Wilson.
You're going lower than Kevin Donovan?
I'm going lower than Donovan Wilson.
Don't sully his name.
You've pulled out back-to-back 90s calendars. It's 1996. So, again...
Oh, it's going to be a pair, isn't it?
Kevin Donovan's quite high, though.
Can anybody else hear an alarm in the background, by the way?
I wouldn't hear it if it's my house anyway. Do you know what? I feel, Mike, like you've been a bit unlucky here because you've turned Paul Groves.
Oh,
the other week we had Alan
is the top trump.
We had somebody really good, didn't we? And we
Everyone's the top fucking trump according to Youngie. Oh, that's the top trump. That's the top trump.
Right,
I said that Donovan was top. Yeah.
You'd say Sergio Kofo over. Youngie goes, that's top. That's top.
Right, Sam, you've got 3 calendars to negotiate to take the January track title. Paul Groves. Paul Groves, higher or lower?
I do lower. There cannot be a player who you two are going to hold in higher esteem than Groves.
Can I just say you were showing the calendar then?
No, I wasn't.
You was. Is it 1999?
Right, well, he's already said whether it's higher or lower.
You were showing the calendar when he was saying it.
Mike, he's not going to go higher than Paul Groves, is he?
Who is actually higher than Groves on these? Who could it
I think Alan Buckley took it the other week, and I can't think of many others in my life that would be on one of these calendars.
Alan Buckley is he'd be the only one, I think.
I'm at Derek.
Right. Well, you've turned Jake Hessenthaler, which to me, I thought Jake Hessenthaler. I think this is tricky because if you turn another calendar from a similar era, I think Jake Hessenthaler was pretty middle of the road.
He was very underrated, I thought.
He'll be best than a lot of other crap players who we've had, and there's a lot of crap calendars in there. So I'm going to go lower than Jake.
Okay, Hessenthaler. Jake Hessenthaler. You've gone lower than Jake Hessenthaler, and you've turned 2021.
Give it now.
Oh, this is tough. This is tough. There's one calendar on the floor. Matty Pollock.
Matty Pollock's better.
I'm going to involve Richard in this one. I'm going to go to the lines.
Currently playing in Championship.
With one calendar. But it's not. We're talking about a town, aren't we? So you went. What did you go, Sam? You went lower than Jake Hessenthaler.
I did.
Richard, what's your verdict?
I think Matty Pollock is higher. Just. I think in the form of a town career, started off well with us, looked good early on. I'm going to go. Matty Pollock is higher than Jake Hessenthaler.
With one calendar to play, Mike takes control of the game.
And Mike's going to bottle it.
With Matty Pollock, Sam wins by default if you get this wrong, which would be a nice thing to happen to Sam, to be fair. Right, Matty Pollock, I would say, is pretty middle of the road if you turn any calendar that's recent. Are you going higher or lower than Matty Pollock?
I'm going to say higher than Matty Pollock. And that's a 51.49% judgment there.
You've turned 2004. You've gone higher, and you've won the game with Michael Balding.
Yeah. Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike. January's play your calendars right. Sam's still waiting for a victory.
Thank you. I've had a lovely day. I've had a lovely day.
All right, we're not interested.
I won a game a few weeks ago. That bloody numbers game.
You didn't win this week. Yeah, when you cheated.
No, I didn't cheat at that one. Actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because you didn't listen to me say Nathan Clark, so you said it twice.
I generally don't listen to you. You don't listen to me. I don't listen to you.
We're an hour and 13.
Although my wife did say to me, "Who's that texting you this time of night?" And I looked at my phone and said, "It's Sam telling me about batting averages for the last 68 Test matches."
Right.
Wow. Bruce has kicked Mike out of the group chat because Bruce wants to go away. So we will bid you farewell, shall we, Bruce?
I think we've done an hour and 13. It's gone pretty well. Well, technically, it's gone pretty well. It's probably been the usual drivel, but it's gone okay. I think it's time to cut our losses and let these people go to bed. Or
should we give him his own show?
Like a spin-off.
Yeah,
Fenners.
like late night with Fenners
In the bushes.
Oh.
in the bushes. Late night in the bushes.
Are you technically DN37, Bruce? Where are you?
No, I used to be DN37, but I'm in Cleethorpes. I'm DN35.
Oh, you still
Maybe SM2. That might work.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening.
He's got to turn it
Thanks
off
for
now, hasn't he?
watching.
Oh, hang on.
Play the credit.
Oh, hang on. Stay in the studio until the outro video finishes playing, or the broadcast may not end properly. Play outro and end stream. See you later.
It's going well, isn't it?
Open wide for some Open wide for some soccer!
And now the shipping forecast issued by the Met Office on behalf of the Maritime and Coast Guard Agency at 1130. Go! At 1130.
I don't think I've ever wanted to be in a stand more than my life around there. They're going crazy. Hey, they got penalty here. There'll be fish flying about there. There's no tomorrow.
What a magnificent piece of football!